pervasive in the US, but a similar analysis in Indian context is missing. The present study tries to fill the gap of measuring the effects of residential separation in India on the basis of caste, which is one of the dominant forms of discrimination. The study calculates the extent of separated living or the diversity index from the already existing literature. The study then focuses on the difference in outcomes of maternal health in those differently segregated areas. The data is taken from Indian Human Development Survey 2 to measure the indices as well as the outcomes. The logic model is then used to see the causality between the segregation index and the concerned outcomes of study. The study finds that the more the segregated area, the more segregated the area is, the worse are the outcomes for the disadvantaged groups.
Okay, any comments? Where? If you don't hear, then what's the point? We need to do a favor. Stand up and read it again. Everyone here or this time, you have to comment on your abstract.
Okay. The studies on residential segregation on the basis of race is quite pervasive in the US, but a similar analysis in Indian context is missing. The present study tries to fill the gap of measuring the effects of residential separation in India on the basis of caste, which is one of the dominant forms of discrimination. The study calculates the extent of separated living or the diversity index from the already existing literature. The study then focuses on the difference in outcomes of maternal health in these differently segregated areas. The data is taken from Indian Human Development Survey 2 to measure the indices as well as the outcomes. The logic model is then used to see the causality between segregation index and the concerned outcomes of study. The result is that the more segregated the area is, the worse are the outcomes for the disadvantaged groups.
Thank you. Anything? Yeah. I think that's my only feedback, that you have spent a little too long on the method. That's my only, I think that's spot on. But what works in this abstract? It's the language is crisp. She has that flow of introduction, findings, method findings, conclusion. It almost seamlessly follows. It's written really well, and it's the language and the flow are both spot on. Okay. Okay, repetitive word, sure. I mean, it didn't, when I listened, maybe if I read it, it would look different. But when I heard it, it wasn't bothering me. But if it's something you picked up on, so of course, try to eschew, try to do away with all repetitiveness. That goes without saying. But otherwise, great effort. Next. Sorry, yeah. Yeah. No, you should at least your last line. So if you don't give it all away, you must give some sense to it. It doesn't have to come to your title, but if you abstract, there should be some indication in your last line. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Title of my
Please listen.
article is.
No, leave the title.
Okay.
Because I just
Okay.
want to think abstract.
Okay. Cultural right is important for respectful and dignified life. It has been recognized by the international human rights laws. The Constitution of Nepal provides the cultural rights as the fundamental rights. But the cultural rights have not been given equal importance for all in Nepal as per the international human rights laws and the Constitution of Nepal. So, for example, right to religion or right to language. The government of Nepal has enacted many laws which violates the cultural rights of one community and protects the rights of another. The study of case law, this decision of the Supreme Court shows that it has been interpreting the constitution or laws in such a way which favors the cultural rights of one community and violating the cultural rights of another. Such attitude of the government or judiciary is the violation of the obligation taken under international human rights laws. The government and judiciary should correct its discriminatory attitude so that the cultural rights of each community will be protected as per the rules of law and human rights.
This is not an abstract at all. What is it? Huh? It's an opinion piece. How can you have should in abstract? And we have no idea about the study, how you engaged in the study, what were the findings, and then your conclusion. The whole thing was it was like a manifesto for the importance of cultural rights in Nepal. It was not an abstract. Okay? So, an abstract is focused purely on your paper. And it takes these 4 elements from your paper. If you don't have these elements, it's not an abstract. Okay?
Can I have a comment?
Yeah.
I'm planning to write a paper.
Okay, so it's before
Yeah.
the paper. Okay, chalo.
Yeah.
You know, I don't recommend it, but
Yeah.
let's try.
So it's about the foreign policy. I'm not too many to time with it. And so
You want to stand up? It just, one just speaks more clearly. And not stand.
So
Everyone listen, please.
independent foreign policy is a vital showcase of a country's sovereignty. This paper attempts to bring in the need of a reform in the foreign policy of Bhutan. Bhutan, being sandwiched geographically between China and India, faces difficulty in implementing foreign policy decisions independently. India expressed its interest in the Bhutan foreign policy in the 1947 Treaty of Friendship and was lifted off in the 2007 Treaty, but the patterns of the influence is still seen. The assessment here is done between the economically stable diagnosed China and India vis-à-vis the economically fragile that is Bhutan. On the outset, this paper also hints towards a commemoration of a limited trade between Bhutan and China, which would indicate that Bhutan retains a total independence in its foreign policy decisions. Nevertheless, in the process of it, Bhutan also needs to be cautious about the special relationship it has adhered with India in the past. Bhutan's growth has been restricted by foreign influence. So, sustainable and independent mobilization is the need of the hour.
Any comments? Any comments? Reactions? Huh? What worked, what didn't work?
Last word sustainable and something. This last word seems a little.
Did it work till then? Did you feel
This
it
is
worked
very,
till
very
then?
last word. I think.
Anything else? So I have a problem with nevertheless. I feel that nevertheless is a sense of opinionating. It's not a sense of arriving at a conclusion. Yeah. I also had a sense of something missing in terms of your method. I know you use the word assessment, but I got no sense of what method, was this literature review, was this ethnography, what was it based on really? But otherwise, I love the fact that you use the word fragile. I mean, guys, this might seem silly, but it's not. Think of every word you put in your abstract. Every word in your abstract matters. Not even a single word should be unnecessary. And when you infuse a word like fragile, it lifts up a purely academic, purely instrumental piece of writing. And immediately it gets the reader's attention, it gets the journal editor's attention. Remember, in the second half, we're going to talk about publishing successfully. That's where you want to reach by writing well. Okay? Anyone else wants to give it a go? You already had a turn with the title, didn't you? Let's give another person a chance. Who else? Clearly and loudly. So everyone.
Terrorism is associated with Islam and the way it's.
Terrorism?
terrorism is associated with Islam and the way it's taught in religious schools. This paper studies the methodologies and curricula of religious madrasas in Afghanistan and Pakistan. 25 madrasas across the border between the two countries are surveyed. This survey shows that terrorism is a pedagogical problem, not a political problem or a political means used by both the countries. A reform in the religious texts and the methodology of teaching would weaken cross-border terrorism in the region.
Okay. I actually thought that was very well put together, but I don't know if pedagogical problem is accurate. You know, problem seems like a lazy word here because it's much more. It's a pedagogy is being used in a sense, right? So it's a pedagogical, I don't know, I would have used a more bombastic word like conundrum. So problem seems very lazy. Huh? Anything else in terms of feedback to that? But I thought you went step by step really nicely. Otherwise, it was really good. Who else wants to want to How much is it? 250. That's it.
Our identities are formed in different ways in our interaction with the society, culture, and spaces. These interactions also provide us a place for interpreting and reinterpreting these formations of notions. This paper looks at genderqueer as one of such identities which does not conform to the prevailing notions of gender in terms of their expressions and experiences in public spaces. Genderqueer as an identity is still subject to social stigma and lacks recognition on the part of common masses. This paper looks at the narratives and interviews of those who identify themselves under the brackets of gender fluid, genderless, cross-dressers, transgenders, etc., and use the umbrella term for genderqueers for themselves. With the help of Evoy's idea of gender as an acquired category and Butler's theory of gender constitution as performative acts, this paper realizes how performing one's gender requires a dialectical relationship with the space and how one affects the other and vice versa. The narrative explores the everyday misgendering of these individuals in places like universities, public washrooms, parks, and etc., and the negative and positive psychological impact of mistaken pronouns and enforced proofs.
Okay, any comments, any feedback? Come on guys, you're not listening anymore. Come on, to give feedback to each other's work. Okay, so the only thing I would say is, you know, when you get to the point, before you get to the point of the present study or this paper, I feel like all of you are hedging a little and doing these two very general kind of introductory comments. I think one line should do before you get to this paper. So collapse all that into one very strong introductory general line and make sure your second sentence starts with the present study or this paper, or a better way of saying that, right? I think this hedging or this beating around the bush before you get to the thing, there's no need for that because it's a strong abstract after that, okay? Yeah. No, it's not. But you can just, you know, that's why I said, you can have a better way of doing it. You know? You can find many phrases to replace that. But what I'm saying is, your abstract should bring the focus to your work immediately. Do you get what I mean? I mean, your abstract is not there as a magazine article introduction to sound good only, or primarily. Primarily, it is there to get the reader hooked because it will be an academic reader or a journal editor in your subject or in your focus. So that's the point I'm trying to make. You know, get rid of the generalizations quickly, make them shorter, and then move on into your study. Yeah.
Regarding some words like example, etc., vice versa.
Okay, that's the other thing. I felt, as I said, you mentioned Butler, didn't you? I would totally leave any literature reference out, as I had said earlier.
because that's not where you want to take your reader. Remember, it's risky as well, because if your journal editor is someone who is completely not conversant with or in agreement with that part of the literature review, they'll just go over your work. So don't do a literature mention in your abstract. Yeah, obviously reviewing, etc. and everything, these are words that you should leave out. I mean, we want to be more definite, which is why I had a problem even with a word like problem or speculate or, whatever, argue or whatever it is. It has to be much more, and get away from passive voice, move to active voice, right? This paper does it. This is not done by the paper. This paper does. That's moving from passive voice to active voice. Okay, I think we've seen enough of these. Are you, feeling a little sort of less bored by the idea of an abstract? I mean, of course one could keep writing it constantly. In book publishing, we write something called the blurb. You know what a blurb is, no? It's the back matter, the jacket matter. When you pick up a book, you always first look. You turn the book and you see it, or if you're buying it online, you look at it, you click on the thumbnail and the blurb opens up. And that's what makes up your mind whether you want to spend your 200 rupees on that book, right? Your abstract is that. Your abstract is the first point of stop when a journal editor wants to decide whether your paper is worth the trouble to publish in her article, in her journal. So it has to be treated with that much importance. Okay? Okay, now we are moving to the best, at least my favorite part of the presentation workshop, right? Yes, you have to be sure.